our session, first year college experience, strategies for academic success from high school to college. This is a very important conversation. If you have time, if you want, you can buy the book. All right. Remember, this is a free 6-week course that I'm offering to all high school and college bound students, primarily those who are transitioning to college. But we got some special presentations, and I'm gonna have a special guest join me, not today, but in the weeks to come, to share their approach to the high school schedule and agenda that they have laid for all students. And here's why we need to have this conversation. COVID-19 and all of the tests and positive tests that we repeatedly see week after week, we're gonna have to do some different things from home and in the classroom. So whether you're a high school student or a college student, there's some new methods and strategies that I want to introduce to you that I think will be suitable and applicable for both if you're at home doing remote learning or if you're on site physically on your campus or physically in your high school. So here's the book. If you want to buy it, you can find it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, any media outlet. But let's just recap from last week. Last week was about laying the foundation and reaching out to our professors, starting to change gears in our mind about academics. One of the tough transitions, and this is what high schools have reported through anecdotal evidence, is that they spend a lot of time getting students out of summer mode and into academic mode. And before you know it, it's October, November, okay? We're being proactive in our approach. We're gonna shift gears to academic mode now. At least every Sunday for the next 4 weeks, we have a total of 6 sessions, all right? And I am offering myself for tutoring for anybody whose student need me to walk with them through this pandemic, through COVID-19, whether you're on campus or at home, whatever the deal may be. I'm available. Okay, so let's work those things out. My contact information is here. You can reach me by cell phone or through my email. But I'm willing to help. I have 20 years of experience in higher education. I worked at 3 private premier institutions: Ohio Northern University, Buena Vista University, and Elon University. So I have a breadth and depth of knowledge of advising students as they matriculate to graduation. So I want to be an encouragement to you this summer. So I've given you some time in my introduction to get a pen and paper. So let's just talk about last week and the foundational things. Some of the things, if you missed this last week, you can go back online and pick up that course. But some of the things we talked about is just laying the foundation, allowing yourself to try and how to be successful and how to kind of start communicating or setting up your communication with your faculty member, knowing who your faculty are. By this time, I believe everyone should have a schedule. Okay, you should have email addresses or at least names of your professors. All right, and you should be reaching out to them if you're going into college. And it doesn't matter if your university is going to remote learning where you'll stay home or they're telling you to come on back to campus. We got all the precautions in place. Either way, July is a great time because a lot of schools are moving up their semester, okay? July is a great time to introduce yourself to your professor. And just write them a letter introducing yourself. Tell them you're excited about their class. You look forward to learning. You look forward to the shared experience. Last week, we also talked about how to create a communication log. And a communication log allows you to set up how often I email, how often I reach out and call, how often I text my professors. And you just jot it down so you can have a log of the many times that you've communicated with your professor prior to the start of school. And why is that important? Well, I don't want you to get in a crunch and then have to build a relationship with the professor. Let's get proactive. Let's introduce ourselves now. Let's build this communication now. I pulled that concept from a doctoral program. In the doctoral program, as you put your committee together, you reach out to your professors and you begin to have an engagement and a conversation with them about likes and dislikes in life and how things going and so on and so forth. So we really pulled down from the doctoral level into the undergraduate experience. And so now we're practicing doctoral student stuff in our undergraduate experience, okay? So it's encouraging to reach out to your professors and have this communication. And we talked a little bit about doing a student audit last week, all right? What is it that you need to be successful? You need to do an audit on yourself, okay? Some of us need to be around family. Some of us need to be alone. Some of us need to study in groups. Some of us need to be connected with an affinity group, a fraternity, or sorority, or some other organization. So when you do a student audit, you look at what do I need to be successful. So those were some of the foundational things that we did last week. If you missed us, this week we're going to go a little bit deeper. I'm excited about this lesson today. So get ready, take some notes, pen and paper. And remember, high school students, I'm going to bring on special guests who's going to talk to you, not today, but I'm going to bring on a special guest who's going to talk to you about his methods and strategies that have led him to be very successful during this remote learning experience. So let's get after it today. First thing we need to do, it's great to have an accountability partner, but I think it's even greater when you have an accountability partner in yourself from within. So I always challenge students to make a personal contract with themselves. You can have someone outside of you, but I think if we're going to build within, if we're going to strengthen who we are, it is so important to have a personal contract with yourself. And what you would simply do is say, I, Leon Williams, pledge to do the following. And you need to check off what you're actually going to do, and don't check off the things that you're not going to do. I don't want you to go down the list, whatever list you create, and check off everything. No. I want you to check off what you can actually commit yourself to doing, okay? Attend class regularly, all right? If you're on site and you're on campus or you're in high school, attending class with regularity is so important, okay? That's a non-negotiable, okay? Now, if you're in remote learning and you're learning from home, most teachers, professors have designated time for you to be having an in-class experience. That's still attend class regularly, okay? If it's your responsibility because you're in a distant learning situation and it's your responsibility to meet with your classmates to do an assignment or have a group assignment experience, that's attending class with regularity. So we don't want you in this season of unpredictable things, we don't want you to fall lack into your attention to attending class with regularity, all right? So hopefully everyone will be able to check that one off. The second, develop a planner. I wasn't a planner student. I wasn't a planner student in undergrad. I tried it. It just don't work. And it's not that it doesn't work. I'm not as consistent and devoted and disciplined enough. And I fought that. I fought against that. So I had to find different ways because I thought I could try the planner method. And there are some people who do really well with planners. And they're color coding them. And they enjoy it. They like having that order. Okay? Listen, I have 3 degrees. And I wasn't a planner person. So, but I did have to find an alternative to keeping my world organized. Okay? So I like little notes. The big picture, and it's interesting because I'm a big picture person, but that big picture and the discipline of writing down every little thing, for some reason, it was a little overwhelming for me. I would rather just take a little note and write down what I had to do. Another thing that I did, and it hurt me at times, I kept everything up here. Listen, college, high school, there's a lot of information to retain and to regurgitate. Okay, let's help the brain. How do we help the brain? By writing things down. You can rely on, and I see this often in students, even in my 20 years of higher ed, they rely heavily on, oh, I heard what you said. What that does, and when you're in a conversation and you listening to someone, or you listening to a coach or a teacher and you don't take a note, by the time you get to college, it's going to be real foreign to you to listen to someone and know what to write down. So you need to practice that now. Okay? You can do it at home with your chores. You can do it at home when mom and dad or your guardian tell you what to do. You have to learn to take in information, and if you're not good at memorizing it, go ahead and write it down. Okay? Let's jump to another one. I pledge to exercise, right? So important. Okay? There's the mythical freshman 15 in terms of freshmen gain 15 pounds when they come to campus because the cafeteria is all you can eat and you can go back as many times as you want and several times throughout the day, and you ain't nobody there to stop you from eating ice cream and pizza and so on and so forth. You have to commit to eating healthy but exercise. You gotta keep moving. Okay? And here's why. When it comes, if you're not in your best health, it is very difficult to write a paper and do homework for long periods of time if you're fatigued because you don't have a balanced lifestyle. And now you want the best out of your brain in terms of performance and focusing on everything. And now your body is like, no, we need to go have some chips. No, we need to go have a soda. We usually are talking on the phone and text messaging and etc. You need to get into a routine of what you eat and eating healthy, as well as a balance of exercise that keeps the stress down. Okay? So important. Don't get to college, or even if you're in high school, okay? And let's say you're following a high school schedule, remote learning. After your first class, let's say you have a math class at 10 o'clock, all right? And you have made up a schedule that you're going to put math in the beginning of your day. After math class, you may have English class. Okay, so let's say you have 2 classes back to back. Here's what I want you to do. Before you go into the next class, walk around the house. Walk up and down the stairs. If you have a home where you can walk around the house, walk around the house. If you feel safe in your community where you can walk up and down the street, walk up and down the street. I don't want you, even in a remote learning experience, to sit in that chair for 4 to 5 hours and be a great student and just snack and eat and have lunch and never get out of the chair. No, it doesn't happen in college. When one class is over, they walk to the next location. So we want you to build in those breaks in between classes, okay? Another personal contract item, be a good citizen in the community, okay? You have a responsibility going into this young adult stage to be a good citizen in the community. You're going to live right. You're going to do right. You're going to help others. Okay? Those things shouldn't stop if you're in a remote learning situation. Find a place to volunteer. Devote your time to something else. There should be things that we are doing in our communities to help our kids have a more balanced lifestyle, even through remote learning. If there's a local park and there's a trusted community, there should be some recreation, just some exercise. Then everybody go back home. We're going to have to be a lot more creative in helping our kids progress and matriculate to the next grade. It doesn't matter if it's grade school or it's middle school or high school. We have to help one another, okay? So if there's a trusted community and some trusted relationships between parents, we got to put together a recess for the kids. We have to put together some exercise for the kids. We have to put together maybe a field trip for the kids. We're going to have to be creative because now those who are at home versus those who may have to go to work, we have a responsibility in our community to help kids. So these are things that you have to make a contract for. These are obligations. These are things that become non-negotiables. The things that you do not check off, That doesn't mean they're out of your view. It only means these are things that I need to work on. Okay, like get rest. A lot of people, I've seen this in my own household. All right, young people don't like to sleep, or they can use very minimal sleep. Okay, or the sleep pattern is off. So let me give you some examples. Either I'm up all night watching Netflix and then I sleep through the day. Okay, bad practice. All right, or I sleep through the night and through the day. I get 12 to 15 hours of sleep. Okay, I want you to have a balanced life. You're going to ask the body to respond in another month or so. You don't do that in an aha moment and just shake up the body. I need you to work on that right now. How do I live the life now that I hope to live in the future? If you want to be a professional, for those who are in college and about to graduate, if you want to be a professional, most professions 8 to 5, 9 to 5. You got to start practicing now, getting up and being productive, being sharp. And now you say, oh, that's why my parents used to take coffee and tea on their way out the door. They got to be on their P's and Q's soon as they leave the household. So you don't wait, college graduate, to get into that mindset or that state of mind. I need you to practice that now. High school students thinking about college. There is some unusual sleep patterns in college. But those who are very successful, they have a nice, rigid, vigorous schedule that they say, I'm going to follow this schedule to a T to be the best student I can be. You practice now on what you want to become. You don't wait till they get there and then say, well, I'm going to adjust. No, it doesn't work like that often. Okay? All right, so let's look at another slide. 48 hours personal care now. 48 hours of personal care. Now, here's what I like about this. We got to incorporate some things in our life on a 2-day interval. All right? So, for example, I used to coach football, right? And we would work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. 48 hours of intense training, then a day off. Then another 48 hours of intense training, and the weekend is yours. Okay? Personal care. You have to incorporate these things in your life now. You need a day of rest, so I highly recommend Monday, Tuesday, break on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? You need personal care items. Some parent may be looking at this slide saying, why are you promoting Netflix? Well, they're going to watch Netflix anyway. We might as well schedule it. The problem is we watch and get caught up in the series, and before you know it, we've watched 8 hours of Netflix. Why not in a 48-hour span schedule it and commit yourself to that, because they need personal care items. They need outlets, meaning students. So they can't just study. They're going to have to schedule these things. Allow these things to happen. These are personal care items that many students, they go, let's say exercise. I'm going to go play some hoops. You got to say, I'm only going to hoop for an hour or two. Period. You can't go over and play hoops for 6 hours. You got to study. You're a student. But so what I want you to do, and the reason why I added now, I want you to start practicing these things now. So you can find out what is it that your body best responds to and what is it that you enjoy doing. Okay? This is stuff that you need. If you've never done yoga, try it every morning. It may change your whole outlook on life on that day. Okay? But I want you to do it in a 48-hour span. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday. Okay? I've seen great production and performance and peak performance opportunities out of students, out of student athletes with that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday schedule. Okay? Now, let me just take a break and say this. If you have questions, I always come back after the session and answer any questions that you may have. Okay? So don't be afraid to just type in a question. I may not get to it right now because I can't see it, but I will get to it after the session. Okay? Next slide. Okay. Here's the fun stuff now. This is where you get to imagine being on campus. This is where you get to imagine, oh, I'm going to be able to do homework from my bed or in the living room, etc. Whatever works for you. Here's the freedom that I used to kind of coach students through. You have to have some knowledge of academic and personal spaces. You have to have knowledge of where these things are at, where the location, what suits you best. Give you an example. Some people can take their books out while they eat lunch and read. I'm easily distracted. I'm focusing on food. I would not be a person pulling out my book while I'm eating. It's too much going on. It's too much noise. It's too much clinging of the utensils, laughing and talking. So that's not the best environment for me. But for other people, it may be. Okay? I like complete silence. I do my best studying when everyone is in bed and I'm just sitting up with my nightlight on and I'm just in it and I'm studying, and I can go through the night if I have to, just studying, because that is what works for me. You may be a person that's studying in groups. You might enjoy studying in groups. You might enjoy studying in groups outside. What I want you to do is start getting to know, how do you perform best? Is it in social spaces, in places like a cafe? Some people can go to Starbucks. Some people can go to a Barnes & Noble, a bookstore, and study and be very productive. Some people go and they like that environment and they write books sitting in a nice cozy couch or whatever. You got to find out what works for you. Okay? Now, if you're remote learning and you sleep in your bed, right? You sleep in your bedroom. That may not be the best place for the brain to be productive when it comes to homework and writing papers. You may want to change the setting, because when you walk into the room, the signals that come into the brain is, this is where I sleep. This is where I am lax. This is where I am cozy. So if that's the information that's being fed to the brain, now if you take your books in there, you might be like, why is it so hard for me to study in my bedroom? Well, because that room is made for sleeping and relaxing and being cozy. Okay? So you may have to change if you're at home learning and saying, oh, to be at my best, I got to go to a table. I got to go to another room. Okay? Now, some of you say, you know what? I'm at my best. I got a little desk in my bedroom. I know how to get out of bed, make up my bed, sit at my desk, and do my work. If that is what works for you, go with it. But if you happen to struggle, I want you to understand why. Okay? So don't fight it. Go with what works for you. It could be outside, back patio, backyard, in the sunlight. It could be in the living room. It could be at the dining room table. It could be laying on your floor in your room. This remote learning experience, we still have to do the things that we need to do to be successful. Okay? Group studying, Zoom. We can FaceTime. You can still be creative from home and still accomplish the things you need to accomplish. I can very much appreciate if a student is on a FaceTime with a classmate as if they're in the library, but they both at home. That's awesome. That's great use of social media and use of your cell phones. That is awesome. You normally study with this person in the library, so you say, yo, we go e-library tonight at 8 o'clock from 8 to 10. So we just FaceTime each other and we do our homework while we are on the phone, looking at each other, laughing at each other. Now, the key to that is you got to be able to manage that so you're not a distraction from one another. See, parents, if you're watching, we have to make the experience from home as close as we can to the experience that they would have in a normal classroom setting. So we can't eliminate everything. All right? We have to meet them halfway. Okay? All right. Again, if you have questions, type them in and I'll get to them later. All right? Now, here's an overview of a college campus. This is very little nice image here. One of the things I found out in my 20 years of higher ed and helping students is there were so many places on campus. We're still talking about this slide, academic and personal spaces. There were so many spaces on campus that students didn't even think about, oh, this would be a great place for me to learn and to study. For some people, they know how to go to the library, get in a cubicle, and stay there. And it works for them. It doesn't work for everybody else. Again, if you're on campus, you need to find maybe the coffee house. And it may be located in the center of campus because you like coffee or tea and you like being in that environment. We want you to be successful. Anything that's a distraction, we want you to remove yourself from. But how would you ever find out if the coffee house works for you if you've never been to the coffee house and you don't know where it's located? Okay? Residence halls. Residence halls, okay, I can't study in my room. I can't study. Well, there's student lounges. There are computer rooms. There's lobbies. All right? The designers and the engineers who put all these residence halls together now, the suites, there's so many different creative blueprints out there that they've created study spaces, student gathering spaces for you to be successful. Yeah, you can't study in your room, but you don't feel like leaving the building. Well, there may be a 24-hour lobby. There may be a 24-hour student lounge. Okay? Academic buildings, a great place to study. If you are in the sciences, watch this. This is wonderful. If you're in the sciences and you're in that building all the time, and you're like, I'm sick and tired of this building, but you know your degree kind of comes out of that building, you need to train your brain. I need you to perform at your best in this building. So when I walk in this building, I light up. My eyebrows get wide open and raised, and I'm wide-eyed, and I'm like, yes, I'm in the building. I'll be honest with you. I play college football. When I see a football stadium, if I have time, I can drive past just to look at the grass in the stadium, in the goalposts, in the stands, in the chalk on the field. Why? Because I love that environment, being on the field, performing on the field. So when I see it, I light up. You have to have that same excitement about your academic building. And here's another piece. Most academic buildings have a place for students to study. Even after hours, once your professor leave and lock up, there are spaces in the academic building for you to study. So between a coffee house, a residence hall, an academic building, of course you have the library, or if you're an outdoorsy person, there's benches throughout the campus. There's plenty of grass and green space for you to lay down. The student center always have rooms that are made for students to come and take advantage of. So there are spaces and places for you to be successful. You have to know where they are. So here's what I recommend you do. If you're going to campus this year as an incoming freshman, get a diagram that is a campus map. And you sit down on your visit or orientation this fall. You sit down, and I want you to just circle, asterisk, highlight the places you would like to study. The places that from this presentation you've thought about, that might be a pretty cool place to study. So now you know where they are. So when you and the parents are right before y'all say the goodbyes and y'all walking around campus, if you have the time, find these places so you will know between where I'm living and that building, I know how to get here. Students get into week 10 and they don't even know what a writing center is, but you have problems writing papers. Well, a writing center usually have tutors and student aides to help you with your paper, that will look over your paper, revise it for you, and help you and improve your writing skills by giving you some feedback on the draft before you do a final submission. Okay? So get a campus map, highlight, circle, put an asterisk next to places that you want to study. All right? Very good. So this was about academic and personal spaces. Now, here's the overwhelming piece that I think will go well in this conversation. This is an example of a planner. Okay? So we're transitioning to a planner in time management. If you notice, every yellow piece is studying. I want to make this clear. Whether you're in high school or college, on campus or remote learning, studying is different than doing homework. I'm going to say that again. Studying is different than doing homework. Students get it confused that they're asked, their parents are asked, or a roommate, hey, did you study? And really you only did homework. You took vocabulary words and you wrote down a definition. That's not studying. That's doing some homework. Now, if you're a genius at it, you could do both at the same time. Okay? But I want to be clear. Research says and shows that students that put in about 30 to 32 hours of studying achieve a 3.2 or better. 30 to 32 hours a week. Now, high school students, don't panic. Because you're like, how is that even possible? Listen, in high school, oftentimes, we do homework. Very little do we actually study. So what you want to do is you want to carve out about 5 hours a day times 7 days a week. That's 35 hours. See, when you do that simple math, it's easy. But it sounds overwhelming. Not really, because this is where we mess up in college, and what I'm going to help you in remote learning, even from high school. There are times throughout the day, over here, okay, are the times. Not on Monday. You got class at 8:30, but as soon as class is over, you could be studying. You can knock out 1.5 or 2 hours before your next class. Then you can put in some more study time right after your last class for the day, because in college you're not going to have classes all day. So I may be able to achieve 3 hours of studying before 5 o'clock. Now, I got to build in some homework. That's the green. Homework is in green. Okay? But we need to make use of our time throughout the day. Why do we do that? One, we need to get to our 30 to 32 hours. That's one. Two, we're practicing for corporate America. Corporate America work, mental stability, mental toughness from the beginning of the day towards the end of the day. Students, here's where some students make the mistake. They go to college, they go to class, and because there's such an imbalance in their life, they plug in sleeping. And I was guilty of that. I could sleep. Me and my roommate, we knew how to just, close the blinds, turn the light off. Let's get in a few hours, just knock it out. Sleep. Unproductive for me. He did quite well with the nap. I didn't. I needed to keep going. Okay? So I began to learn how to plug in studying throughout the day. High school students, remote learning. Okay? Let's say, for example, math and English is on Monday. Okay? You do math and English. You may do some homework. All right? After the homework, I want you to study the homework you just did. I want you to start practicing at the high school level. I want 3 hours out of you a day. 3 hours of studying. That's outside of homework. 3 hours of studying. So that we can get now, for our high school students, we want to come in 20 to 23 hours a week. 20 to 23 hours of studying. Not just homework, studying. Okay? Now, my guess is, because this is an interesting question for remote learning when it comes to affinity groups and student affairs professionals, which I think going to change to some degree. But what I think is going to happen, the needs that you have outside of the classroom, I'm talking student affairs, I'm talking counseling, multicultural affairs, residence life type conversations, student activity conversations, leadership departments conversations, religious life conversations. I think things are going to move to Zoom, because I can't see having these professionals on campus being paid and there's no students. That could be a threat and danger to student affairs. So student affair professionals, I believe, are going to have to be creative in setting up meetings with students and do everything through Zoom. It's just like the doctors now are meeting with their patients online through a camera, through Zoom-like features. Okay? I think that's going to be student affairs' new role as we continue to find answers for COVID-19. So in the purple, you have meetings. You're still going to have meetings. You can be part of a sport. You're still going to have meetings. Okay? Here's the key. And I said this earlier. Schedule everything you're mandated to do and everything you want to do. The reason why most students, in my experience, get off track with their schedule and their time management, it's the unplanned time. The time they didn't set aside for this particular thing. If your friends say, hey, we're watching a movie tonight, if you feel like you're in a good place with your academics, go watch the movie. Down the hall, you're not leaving the building. They say, give you a time, we're going to put the movie on at 9. Cool, get you some popcorn, walk down the hall, watch the movie. After the movie, you need to go back. Don't stay to the after party, if you will, and the after conversation, and the laughing and joking, and now you went from 9 to 11 because the movie was roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours, and now you realize, oh, it's 1 a.m. Devote the 2 hours. I don't want you to be a party pooper, all right? And they're like, well, don't invite Leon. He never come. No, you can go. But as soon as the movie over, just say, all right, appreciate the invite. I'm out. Get back to your schedule. That could be 2 hours of reading. Then you can still shut it down at 1 a.m. Here's the thing. There are some students who can watch the movie, laugh and joke after, go grab a bite to eat, and still get an A in writing a paper. I didn't have that ability. I needed to be disciplined and have fun and then get back to it just to manage a C or B. I just wasn't that sharp of a student. So there were some things I needed to eliminate or simply avoid. Okay? So here's an overview of the schedule. All right? Here, check this out. In red, I plugged in gaming. Yeah, intentional. Because most gamers now, Fortnite, whatever, you could do it 6 hours. No. Schedule it and put it in the time frame. I'm going to play this game for a few hours. Then I'm going to get to my homework and then I'm going to study. You get gaming on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Schedule it. Stay disciplined in the time frame. Weekend, look at this. If I'm going out Friday and I know I'm going out, don't fight it. If you want to go out, go out. But look what happens. Most classes on Friday end about 1 or 2 o'clock. So why not just bang out your homework and now treat going out as a reward? I had class earlier. I got some studying in on Friday. I knocked out about 4 hours of homework. Now I'm going out. Most students, classes in, we don't do no homework, we don't do no studying, we spend a whole bunch of time doing nothing, and we ain't going out till 10 o'clock. Friday is the most overlooked day for studying and homework. The most overlooked. Again, Saturday. Let's say you go out 2 days in a row. You got up. Maybe you do some chores, laundry, etc. Get some gaming in. Look at that. Study. Study. I still got to get my 30, 35 hours before I go out. See, no one's trying to handcuff you or tie you to your bed or your room and say, no, don't go out and enjoy college life. No one is saying that. Take care of your business before you go out. Now, distance learners, these people that's going to be in a remote learning situation, you can apply the same schedule even when you're at home. Get it in. Get your 35 hours in, okay? Schedule your social time. Schedule your gaming time. Schedule your homework time. If you're a student athlete, you got to plug in practice, weight training, etc. I'll say this again. Students who struggle, they struggle because of the unplanned time. And the peer pressure forces them to go outside of their discipline of what they've already laid out for themselves. Okay? This is a great activity. You can pretend and do this now. If you have your class schedule, you can do this right now. High school students, you can do this right now. If you have your schedule, you can do it right now. And make a mock time management schedule, calendar, planner. So you can get used to living off this now. You can do this right now and still do it for all of July. Just to say, okay, I'm going to get up at a certain time. I'm going to do chores at a certain time. I'm going to do a little reading at a certain time. I'm going to do a little gaming. I'm going to be on my phone, etc. You can do that now in July. So it's not foreign to you in August. All right? Now, a great exercise. All right? I'm going to try to take my time with it, but I love this exercise. On the piece of paper, this is called the energy line. On a piece of paper, write a vertical line, almost make like an L. All right, we're going to graph it. All right, and on the vertical line, you're going to put high, medium, and low energy. High, medium, and low energy. Along the horizontal line, you're going to put the times throughout the day. Okay? And what I want you to do, I want you to put an X along the timeline in here on where your energy is throughout the day. So I'm pretty medium to high energy when I wake up. So I will put an X here. Medium to high, about 9 a.m. I'm here. And I kind of can jog along my energy, okay? So I will skip 2 hours, put another mark. I kind of get a little bit higher. Then about 2 o'clock, I start dipping a little bit. So I will put another X around the medium, all right? And then I get another little spike, about 6 or 7 to go back up. So I will put an X there, skip 2 hours. And then I start crashing, right, a little bit. All right, so then I come down and I'll put an X over here because I'm at low energy, all right? And it's about 10, 11 o'clock, okay? Here's the key. This is so important to know your energy line because a lot of students are not morning people, but some are. You need to know where your energy is and how it fluctuates throughout the day. So key. Here's why. Once you put that X, I want you to connect the line, okay, starting at where you start throughout the day and just draw a line through your X's on your paper. Then I want you to write in what time you have class throughout the day. And put your class on the energy line. Okay? So in this example, I'm going to talk you through it. This person has a very low energy in the morning. So they put their X, they drew their line. Then they pull out their schedule and say, oh, I got math at 9 a.m. Well, what do we learn about ourselves just in this observation? At my low energy of the day, I got math. So what is it that I need to do with my energy, because I need to be attentive in this math class? I need to be focused in this math class, and my body is not quite there yet. Okay? So there's a high, this person gets to a medium, then has a drop about noon, lunch, and then there's a spike. So maybe this person ate lunch, and there was a spike in energy. Now they go into their science class, and look, they're at the peak of their day in terms of energy. So there should be a great outcome in that science class. But look what happens right after science. Energy drops. And that's where the English class is. This is an aha moment for most college students. Okay? And this can be the same for you as a high school student, remote learning or on campus. Because you'll learn, that's why I'm so tired in this particular class. It's not that I don't like the class, I'm exhausted. So now we got to make better decisions the night before, because this math class is on your schedule and it's not going anywhere. And if you know you already got low energy, what do I need to do? Maybe I need to go to bed earlier, 1. 2, get up and eat breakfast. 3, maybe yoga, some stretching to get my metabolism, energy going and get some blood flowing through me. All right, some people drink tea or coffee or whatever. You have to do something because math is going to be there. If you can't change your class and you're stuck with this 8 o'clock, 9 a.m. math class, you have to do something to discipline yourself. Because what we want to do, we want to move this energy that's in the 12 o'clock science area, we want to move that energy up into the morning. Or we learn, don't assign yourself a 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. class. In college, you have the flexibility, unlike high school, where you can make your own schedule in most cases. So if you're not a morning person, don't say, I want to be done with class. No, you're saying, I want to get all my classes in before 1 o'clock so I can have the rest of my day to myself. But if you're not a morning person, why would you do that to yourself? We're looking for peak performance. We want you at your best. So you have to be creative in your scheduling. You have to know yourself. But the beauty of the energy line is just understanding. I did this for a group of faculty, trying to train them on how to do this work in coaching students. And a lot of the professionals in the room said, I did it for myself, and now I understand when I go to certain meetings why I'm drained. Because that sleep hits at the same time. That tiredness hits at clockwork. It just comes on you. So they know when they go into the meeting, I can't go in here without a piece of candy, a coffee, some tea, something. All right? Very important conversation. Again, if you have questions, I'll work with you. Just type in your question. Now, I think this is the last one. Yes, it is. Time wasters. Yes. Time wasters. Check all that apply to you. Time wasters. This exercise is probably one of the most honest exercises that you'll do that's in the book. These are the things that get us in trouble. Call your parents. Call your loved ones. If you're dating, you may text or call that person. But talking on the phone for hours, that goes into your 35 hours. That may penetrate some of your gaming time, unless it's scheduled in your social time. But we spend so much time on our phones, and you're wasting time. Okay? Social media, texting, okay? These are all time wasters. If you're using it in a productive way, great. But if you really evaluate your time on your phone now, you'll realize I've wasted a lot of time. And before you know it, when you get done with TikTok and tweeting and Facebook and all these other social media outlets, when you get done with it, you realize, wow, I just did this for 2 to 3 hours and I didn't even realize that time had passed. Time wasters. We're trying to be effective and efficient with our time, not abusive with our time. So this is another fun exercise to just identify, some time wasters. These are some things that just waste time. And some people may be offended by family time could be on there. If it's quality and we're talking about important things and things that matter and we're checking in with one another, great. But there's some students, when they get on their phone and they talk to home, it's a burden. So you have to minimize it. And I'm okay with telling the student, you need to minimize that. Because when you hang up the phone, then you have all these other things going on in your head, and now you're trying to do your homework. Now you're trying to really adjust back and cope, and now you got to put on a mask so that people are saying, oh man, that phone call didn't go that well. Now you got to mask it. Now you got these internal feelings brewing up and just being antagonizing one another, etc. Listen, it can be a time waster, but if it's healthy, I encourage you to do so. It's important that you do so. And parents, you have to understand, if we're not going to have healthy conversations, students will eventually see it as time wasted. And that's just real. I'm not making that up. That is something that I've had to coach students through. Okay? Again, here's all my contact information. Text me, call me, email me. However I can be of assistance to your student this fall as these unpredictable, uncontrollable, and untimely things continue to impact and infiltrate our world. My job here in these 6 weeks, this is our second week, we got 4 weeks to go, is just to give you some foundational things and some things you haven't thought about to help you be successful in college, whether you're on campus or you're doing it in remote learning style. I want to help you. Okay? If you get to college, parents, students, and you realize you're not having the success that you desire, or if you start school and you're doing remote learning and you don't know how to put together a schedule and balance it, I'm here to help you. All right? I want to be of assistance to you. Okay? So give me a shout if you need any help. I've enjoyed you for the second week. I really love this work. Miss it a lot. I continue to help students as they come into my life. So allow me to help you. All right. Until we see each other next time, that would be next Sunday, 6 p.m. We'll get back on the call and it'll be our summer session number 3. All right. Take care, everybody. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.